another edition of the Silverbird Selection. After reviewing a text adventure and a graphic editor in my last two videos, I'm hoping for something a little bit more exciting today. Today we're looking at a game called Force One. It was released in the Silver Range packaging in 1987. Seems to be quite a rare game to find, although not particularly desirable, as I got my copy for £3. So let's hope for a little bit more excitement in the last two videos and check it out. Let's take a look at the packaging then. You can see it's a typical Silver Range packaging, but a very vibrant image we've got on the cover here. You've got kind of what I assume is an eclipse in the background there, or a black hole or something, with loads of yellow beams coming out of it. And then you've got what I assume is supposed to be a spaceship, but it actually looks more like a sort of 50s hot rod or something like that, with some guns mounted on the sides of it and things like that. So interesting image. Not amazing, but certainly very striking and the sort of thing that might stand out when it's on the shelves in the shops. Spine's got the Force One logo, which was also on the front. Didn't mention it, but it was obviously. A couple of screenshots on the back which clearly show it's a horizontally scrolling shoot 'em up. And the information about the game simply says the fate of Force One rests in your hands. Moving inside then, it's exactly what you'd expect to see. There's a big list of exciting games in the Firebird Silver Range. This is the style that's got the list of games down the left hand side and then which system it's available for denoted in the various columns there. And moving inside, we've got the mail order info and then of course the instructions. Force One, copyright 1987, Gordon Hall and Peter Tattersall. And it says it is the year AD 2430 and the Second Solar War continues to rage on. Blah blah blah. Cargo bulk carrier Saturn Voyager, enemy attack, abandoning ship. The only ship within proximity and powerful enough is the battle fighter Force One. As commander of Force One, you have the daunting task of fighting through endless waves of enemy fighters to rescue drifting escape pods. Pretty standard sort of shoot 'em up backstory there. Loads of instructions, and then the gameplay instructions just say play it with a joystick plugged into port 2, press fire to begin. The approach of a pod is indicated by a screen message and points are scored by allowing it to pass the green. The green what? I'm not quite sure. Contact with alien ships or escape pods will end in destruction. Right then, here's the title screen, which as you can see is very colourful, very nice shade of pink, but otherwise it's quite dull. It basically just says Force One a number of times, press fire button, and you can see there at the bottom the coding and graphics were done by Gordon and Pete, who were mentioned in the instruction inlay. There's no music on the title screen, and you're about to find there's no music in the game either. Nothing in terms of a high score table or anything like that, so pretty bland with the presentation. Let's get on and play the game. So as you've seen from the packaging, it's a scrolling horizontal shoot 'em up. Basically you scroll along and shoot enemies, and that's pretty much it for the gameplay. There are some pods that show up at certain points in the game. Hopefully we'll see those. But yeah, the enemies come in a formation, fly at you, you've got to shoot them or avoid them. There's a scrolling starfield background. I haven't shot many of those guys there, but let's move on. And there's not really any scenery, or there's definitely no scenery at all in fact. So there was one of the pods, so I don't know what happened. That basically it got through to the end of the screen, so presumably I got some points I didn't really notice. After a pod arrives, the ship colour and all the enemy colours change. I'm now blue instead of grey, but otherwise it carries on the same. It's slightly reminiscent of Delta, the Thalamus game, but it's nowhere near as good as that, even though that did have its detractors, shall we say, with the way the things flew at you. But yeah, so basically it's just a different swarm of enemies coming at you. If you don't shoot them, they disappear eventually anyway. Rack up as many points as you can, and that's about it. Wait for one of these pods to come along, I suppose. Seems to have gone back to the original enemy formations now. Oh, there we go, there's another pod. And again, I saved that. Don't know if I got any points or not. You don't collect the pods, there's no power-ups or anything like that. One thing, just show it, I haven't lost any lives yet I don't think, but let's just see if we can try it out. Oh, I crashed into something else there. Terrible explosion really as well. What I was trying to show is that you can, if you shoot an enemy and fly into the explosion, that kills you as well. So that's some bad programming, collision detection kind of thing. I clearly need to find a different place. Oh dear, that's all my lives gone. I was going to say I clearly need to find a different place to camp out while those things are coming on the screen. I'll give it one more go. I don't really know why, because you've seen all you're going to see, but let's give it a go anyway, so we can get a higher score than last time. Once you've learned the formations of the enemies and how to avoid them, it becomes pretty tedious. Graphically it's not too bad. they're pretty average space shoot 'em up graphics. The sound effects are, oh dear, there goes a life. The sound effects are pretty bad. It's just like a hissing sound in the background basically, and some explosion noises. There's not even the noise when you're firing, so that's not very good. Let's just avoid those things. They look like Klingon birds of prey there. The enemy designs are fairly mundane as well. It's just the usual sort of stuff you'd expect in these kind of games. Not much variation in colour or style of these things. They just fly around here. Those are just easily avoided. Better to be avoided than actually try and shoot them. Here comes some more flying saucers. I don't know what happened there. I didn't even see anything. Maybe I flew into the explosion then. Yeah, but I'm not going to try and do that too much. But if you fly into the explosion, you die, which is really bad programming or collision text. Now there we go, there go all my lives again. That's pretty much the exact same place I got to before. I don't want to play it anymore. In fact, I didn't even get as far as the previous time there. So let's get on with the review scores instead. So firstly, packaging was pretty nice actually. Nice vibrant packaging, quite attractive I thought, and the instructions were reasonably good. So I'm going to give the packaging a 7. Presentation is just this title screen here, which is really boring. It's colourful, but it's not really got anything of note on it. I'm just going to give it an average sort of 5 out of 10 I think. Graphics are reasonably good but not outstanding, your typical budget space shoot 'em up really, so I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10. Sound is pretty poor, no music in the game, and the sound effects are limited to just that jet noise in the background if you like, and some explosions when you shoot enemies, so pretty poor. I'm going to give them a 4. In terms of playability, it's a pretty average scrolling shooter. I mean, there's not much to see. You've seen all you're going to see in terms of what you do in the game. It's avoid or shoot the enemies as they come towards you. These pods come along every so often, but you don't really get anything from those pods. There's no power-ups or anything like that. It's literally just some more points if the pod makes it across the screen, which therefore makes it pretty irrelevant other than showing how far you're getting through the game. So I suppose if you really wanted to, you could play it for a high score challenge. I'm sure you'd get further as you learn the enemy patterns. There are also some enemies that come from behind and move erratically that kill you, which are a bit annoying. You've got no way of anticipating that, so it's pretty much just a memory test. So yeah, overall pretty dull shoot 'em up, and there's certainly way better shoot 'em ups on the system by this point in time. So I'm going to give it a playability score of 4. That gives it an overall score of 5.3, and I think it's fair to say it wasn't worth $1.99. As I mentioned, way better shoot 'em ups were released for the Commodore 64 by this point in time in 1987. So yeah, pretty dull game, not worth $1.99, and that's a nice quick and easy review done for a change. I won't bore you with any more of it. If you've got any thoughts about the game, let me know in the video comments, and I'll be back with another game review very soon. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you next time.